He's outside breathing.
Beautiful.
Bring in a bottle of beer from outside.
Okay, all night. Very good.
משהו יותר טבעי זה יותר טוב.
Oh, so just on the crack box.
The Rebbe's going to take it away from you. I know it.
חס וחלילה.
You're in fine form today.
Yeah,
It's spring already. Wouldn't want to take you on.
I'm sorry they gave a ceasefire out to Gaza, not so much.
That Nikki Haley is pretty good. She's cutting the UN down to size. It's not that big.
All will be good.
Yeah.
We need to get out of the UN. Throw them back into Europe, not the United States.
You know, it says when Mashiach comes, it's not the Goyim who will declare war on him. He will commence the war. He will start the war.
Who is he?
The Messiah.
The Mashiach.
Yes. Actually, it says that he will reveal himself and declare war on the nations from Tsfat. That's what it says. Another may be the man. I met him at Maccabees not too long.
What's Maccabees?
Maccabee Health. I met him there. Rash, pain, in a bad way.
So, this evening we're learning the Bhaalothcha of the Rebbe, Parshas Bhaalothcha, that was given over by the Rebbe in the year 1411. And the learning is taking place. The learning is taking place in the Beit Knesset Tzaddik Asher B'Ir Kodesh Tsfat. And this evening is Yom Chamishi V'Layla Oyer LeYud Ches Sivan Toshin Ein Chet. So I'm told that quite a few people come in on this class, so we welcome all people who are coming to learn with us the Rebbe's amazing messages together. The Gemara Nema, it's brought down in the Gemara, this is the Gemara Masechta Shabbat, Perik Kol Kisvei, Be'er Kuf Tezayim. The Gemara says over there, Parsha, which is in the middle of this week's Parsha, Vayi bin Soya Ha'oren, which was said by Moshe Rabbeinu whenever all the camp began traveling with all the different Degolim and the different tribes, and according to the Seder, then Moshe would say, when he saw the Oren beginning, he would say, Kum Hashem ve'ofuto yevecho v'chulu. So the Gemara says over there, an amazing thing, the Gemara says that those 2 or 3 psukim that Moshe Rabbeinu said when the Machanes began traveling is Nechshevas Kesefa B'fnei Atzmai Batera. That is like a whole book of the Torah B'fnei Atzmai. Yeah, Umikan Nimta, Kamuvan Medivra HaGemara Shom Atzmon. From here it's to be found, as it's clear from the words of the Gemara itself over there, שבנויסף לחלוקה הרגילה של התורה לחמישה ספרים, that in addition to the interdivision which we're accustomed to of the Torah to 5 books, Harei sheyeshna chalucha nesefer, that according to the Gemara there's another interdivision of the Torah, and that is Shiva Svarim, altogether 7 books of the Torah. Shekein Sefer Bamidbar Atzmei Neklat L'Shleisha Svarim. It follows that Sefer Bamidbar now is actually 3 Svarim. That's to say, from Bamidbar until Vayhi ben Aaron, that's one Sefer. Yehi ben Aaron is another Sefer, even though it's only very brief, but it's like a whole Sefer. And then immediately after that, the Torah begins with a new story and a new passage, Vayhi ha'om kimeseinanim, that the people were like complainers, and they said that we have no flesh and no meat to eat. That was the beginning. So that'll be that passage, Vayhi ha'om kimeseinanim. That'll be the beginning of a new Sefer altogether. So it follows altogether. We've got 3 Svarim in Bamidbar itself. At Parshas Vayhi ben Tzorah, that's one Sefer. Parshas Vayhi ben Tzorah Atzmo, that's another Sefer. Umemenu at Sefer Bamidbar is another Sefer. But that begins with the verse Vayhi ha'om kimeseinanim. The people were complaining why they didn't have flesh. So the Rebbe said that arouses several questions. That brings into the mind of the attendant, it brings several questions. So he says, with the Kushiyes Be'inim, what are the questions that occur? He said, Aleph, Keita Ditochen, how is it make sense that according to this division of the Svarim of the Torah, Arisha Sefer Hashishi, the 6th one, which is the 3rd one here in Bamidbar, Amachil Yachri Pasha Vayhi ben Tzorah, which begins, it's a whole new Sefer now, it begins after Yehi ben Tzorah. It begins with a negative, a very negative inyan, which is very, very definitely negative. Kasher, the biyachas l'shas for him. When we take into account in reference to all the others for him, shmom nikra alamilim harishonim shepasev, what their name is usually called on the first words in the Sefer. Over there, they happen to be good things. They said, for example, that the name of Parshas is on the first word, Parshas, and Shmois on the first. The Cain Sefer, Vayhi ben Tzorah, also the 5th Sefer, which we get after the beginning of Bamidbar, is also called Sefer Vayhi ben Tzorah. He said, Harei shekan mili melu moedes orinin shlili sheba parsazu. Vayhi, first of all, the word Yehi is Lashon Tzar. The Gemara brings in Masechta Megillah that wherever the Torah or in Nach begins a section with the word Vayhi, Vayhi indicates pain or something negative, doesn't indicate good. So it begins, the very first word is a negative word, Vayhi Lashon Tzar. Ho'am, it's one am, the Rashi brings that when we say Ho'am, we're referring to everybody, but we're also referring to the negative people. So Ho'am can even be referring to Rishoim. And Kimeseinanim, they were complainers, which is a Inyan Shlili Lecha Chalutin, or that's in the very essence a negative thing. As well known, it's brought down in certain great Svarim, even mentioned the Meforshim in the Mikrois HaKadelis, that the fact that they began complaining Well, that opened and led to all the other Torahs which occurred. That later there was the Meraglim, and then there was Koirach, and then all the Torahs, all those negative things began from the Misoinanim. And it's put down in the Holy Sforim, and it's also mentioned in the Sikhs of the Rebbe, also the Aricha, that you must never complain. You must never be a complainer against what Hashem does. You are permitted to ask Him for something better. You're permitted to, pray that He should give you, some sort of better hashpah than what you feel you're getting right now. But you must never complain. You must never say, listen, if I'd have been doing it, I would have done it better. You understand? And you, Hashem, are unfortunately treating me not rightly. That's what a complaint is. So that is a very serious, what we might call spiritual fault. It's almost like a central avera which opens up the way to all other averas. You must never complain. You can say that you would like you ask Hashem and you pray to Him that maybe He'd give you more, but you must never say that what you've done up till now is unfair to me. Because that is a pagia, according to the Heilige Arizna and certain other great authorities, that is a pagia in the belief in Hashgacha Pratis. So immediately you say that Hashem didn't deal with me good, then that's a sign that you don't believe that His Hashgacha is perfect, which means that in certain things you don't really accept His Hashgacha, which means that you're, as it were, questioning basically the whole concept of the divine running of things. And therefore you must never complain, chas v'sholem. It's put down in Sforim that you must never complain, even in public, even to make a whole fuss about something. Bifnei acherim, also not a good thing, because that like reflects, that the whole way it's come out is not good. That's also, the whole Indian of Misayin in a very serious matter. So therefore the Rebbe says we've got a whole sefer, a new arrangement of the sefer in the Torah that begins with a very negative thing, and not just a negative thing, but something which is pogay in the whole basic understanding of how Hashem runs the world. The Rebbe brings down that therefore there's no name for the sefer. Nobody calls a sefer Misoinanim or Vayhi or Vayhi Om for Misoinanim. There's no such name. All the others for him have names. But this sefer Shishi is not called by any name. Why? Because it's dealing with something very negative. So the Rebbe said, why, if that's the case, that we make an inner division, we want to get 7 for him, for whatever reason we may have, that we need 7 for him, why did we have to make it that the beginning of a whole sefer is from something very, very negative, which takes away its possibility of having a name, if it doesn't have a name, that sefer. But says that's one question. And the next question is, Mahi Ochena Mashmois Amiyuchedet. What is, after all, the special significance of the division of the Torah into 7 Sforim? What's not good with 5? We got 5 Sforim. What do we need 7 for? Why do we have to, as it were, interdivide again the whole Chumash in a way that leads us to 7? Going beyond the normal division of 5. But that seems to be wonderful. Everybody seems to be happy with that. Why do we have to have 7? And what's the union of 7? And over there in the Gemara learns from a pasuk in Mishlei that there's like a remez that there really are 7 Sforim, which means that right from the beginning there was like an attention on Hashem's part that should become revealed that there are 7 Sforim. So there's some problem. This is bad. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakir v'niyah v'dvayim.
Amen.
So ask yourself the question, why do we need this new division of 7? The third question is that given Parsha Bhaalothcha, since it's after all in the Parsha of Bhaalothcha that this interdivision of the Torah into 7 Shvarim occurs, Parsha Vayi ben Tzoya, Parsha Zu Atzmo, Uliyacha Mikein, that's all in our Parsha of Bhaalothcha. Nira sheyesh kesher v'shaychas toitniyas, it would appear that there's some deep inner contextual connection between the division into 7 and Parsha Bhaalothcha. It would appear that Parsha Bhaalothcha got something to do with this interdivision. Okay, that's where the whole thing occurred. The Parshas said that Rebbe in simple terms, if we just look at it in a simple way without going into all the deeper implications, he said, the menorah, in the menorah, Bhaalothcha is a menorah which deals with the whole lighting of the lights on the menorah and also the making of the menorah. Yeshnam Shiva Neirot, there are 7 lights on the menorah. Of a menorah, we could understand then that maybe that's like and since the menorah and Torah have a connection, because the menorah indicates Neshamas Israel, and those who receive the Torah are the Neshamas, they're the Yidden, and therefore in the Beis HaMikdash, the menorah stood mul the Oren, because the connection, it was a bit to the south, but it was close to the Oren. It was almost like opposite the Oren. And therefore, says the Rebbe, the menorah, yeshno shiva noiros keneged shiva hasforim, but that would be the simplest finding of the connection. However, adayin yesh lahovin as rashaykas atoich. However, we need to understand what is the inner content that makes that connection. In this very connection, what is to use the Chassidic expression, what is the pnimius of the Indian God? So, we're now going to meet up with a lengthy point that the Rebbe learns out of the whole lighting of the lights on the menorah, what that indicates to us in many circles of life in this world. Biyuha inyan, bahakdoma, by making an introduction of Pia Yedua, according to what is well known and well accepted by Yidden, Shekol inyan ha'torah, heim ha'irah liyehudi b'avedas Hashem. It's well known that all inyanim of Torah are an instruction to a Jew in how to serve the Eibishter. And therefore, every detail in Torah, even if it's not actually a mitzvah, is a teaching in how we must serve Hashem. And that's why the word Torah is from Lashon Ha'irah. Torah is from the word lahorot. And lahorot means to instruct or to teach. A teacher is called a moreh. That's on the same basic root word. And so he said, Torah miloshon ha'irah. And the interesting thing is, it's brought down in this week's Parsha, in Parsha Bhaalothcha, in the Zohar HaKodesh. It's brought down clearly in the Zohar that the word Torah, the whole Chamishi Chumshim are called Torah, because Torah is miloshon ha'irah. It's based on instruction and teaching. Well, that's brought down in the Zohar HaKodesh in this week's Parsha. So we see from that there's an integral effort made on the part of the Torah to teach us that the word Torah indicates a lesson, like an instruction. Koshkein, kasher meduba al inyon hamishkon. How much more so when we're talking about certain details of pratim in the inyan of the Mishkan. Shuinyan Kloli Bavedas Hashem Haprotiyas, shall call Yehudi. The inyan of the Mishkan is a general inyan which reflects into the detail of Vedas Hashem of every year, meaning that there's like a generality of the Mishkan, which is Shochanti B'Soichom, and then there's all the Kalim and all the things with in the Mishkan, and apart from the general effect of Shochanti B'Soichom, each of those details in the Mishkan, and particularly the Kalim, they indicate ways of serving Hashem. They are all important instructions. So the whole Mishkan is like a klal and a prat in its very existence. So he said, a prat is shochanti b'soichom, well, that's the general thing, and that is b'tei kol echod ve'echod miYisrael, as the one on the famous Loshen Bazeh, which are brought down in Siddur b'Shem Chazal. And there's no extra medrash or Gemara, the Shloah Kodesh and the Reishis Chochmah and other great early authorities, they bring that down, that Shochanti b'tzei chom is Loshen Rabbim. That means b'tei kol echad v'echad. Everybody, the Mishkan dwells personally in every year. Well, that is a pirush in the Reishis Chochmah and then afterwards in the Shloah Kodesh. So the Rebbe has a whole footnote that those great people are called Chazal. They are given the name Chochmeinazah. That's why we call the Chochmah Gemara. Well, that's one of the key in the Beis. So it's like a prat, but it's also Ainin Klali ve'ikri b'Mishkan. The menorah is like a central thing in the whole Mishkan. It's one of the main kalim in the whole Mishkan. So how do we know it's a central thing in the whole Mishkan? The Gemara says in Masechta Shabbos that the how do you call it? The menorah is like a eidus to the whole world. A kol boy oilam eidus hi shechina shruya b'Yisrael. That the menorah is indicatory of the fact that the Shekhinah rests with the Jewish people. Why? Because the menorah gave off light, and the light went out through the windows, and it went out into the world. And the effect of that light is that all the Goyim realize that that light represents the dwelling of the Shekhinah in the souls of the Jewish people. That's what the Gemara says in Masechet Shabbat. Ibamela come to it that it's on the one hand part of Shochanti b'Tzoichom, but it's a prat also, which is also a general influence in the whole thing. It's nails, but that's a prat, but it's also a general prat. Then again, to every year and his relationship with the Mishnah. V'halimud b'zeh, says the Rebbe. Here we find a very fascinating point. If that's such a high union, then we should be looking for the teaching in, maybe in the Zoya or in the high places, in some deep medrash or the Gemaras. So the Rebbe said the limud, how we're going to learn out what is these messages to everybody from the Mishkan and the Menorah. So the Rebbe said, "Is al pi divrei Rashi ala makom." That if you look into Rashi, you can learn what is the basic main teaching of this in the way we just described. You might say Rashi, but Rashi is just what we call the simple meaning. That the Rebbe said is well known. Kivan Shapiras Rashi niftav l'chol echad miYisrael. Davki because Rashi deals with pshutei shalmikra. What that is, the simplicity. And the Gemara brings in Masechta Shabbos, She'ein Mikra Yotzim Midei Pshutoi. What do you call it? The verses don't go out of their simple meaning. They never lose their simple meaning. And so Rashi comes on to explain that. Rashi writes in several places that he's writing his Pirush even for a Ben Chomish the Mikra. So he's not writing only for a Ben Chomish Mikra. What he says is even a Ben Chomish. Well, that means that he's writing for everybody. And the Rebbe says in the Sikha that he's writing even for women and children and youth and everybody. Rashi doesn't just mean, certain people who are able to understand deep messages, but Rashi's writing has a word for everybody, even for, to use the old expression in the English, even for women and children, even for the less informed, or what you might call the more frail members of our society. And nonetheless, it's also for them. So therefore said the Rebbe Kumtesh that Rashi is a Dover Kolel, and therefore he's Koilo Koladar Vaharamai. Rashi includes all the levels and the heights of learning. Afila Laben Chomesh, Aloim et Pshutisho, even before the how do you call him, the 5-year-old that he's just beginning to introduce himself to Pshutisho Mikra. Harei Shahoira Kloli Azum. What is the Hira Kloli of the Manera? Tamuna Bedivri Rashi Bamakom. If we're looking Rashi, then we must be able to find something that will be referring to everybody, about Chomesh, grown-up people, women and children, everybody. That's an amazing thing, and that is very, very indicatory of the Rebbe's approach in many inyanim that we see that the Rebbe bases himself on Rashi and all the amazing sikhas that we have over all the years, from Kofei and further, where the Rebbe gives over the Pirush of Rashi on so many different themes, and the Rebbe finds in it hints to so many deep and profound messages, and that's a big claw in the rest of it. So the Rebbe, since we're looking for something very general and of tremendous significance and point to the Jewish people, then we don't have to look any further than Rashi. That's the amazing point here. Rashi says, why is it written B'haloishcho? What that means when you elevate the merit. It should have been written when you light the merit. It should have been written when you light the Neri. What's the implication of this word elevation of the Neri? Marashi, Shem. Why did he call it your elevation of Neri? Shem Shahalahav Oilam. When you light something with your candle, then what happens is that the flame goes upwards. The teva of a flame is when it catches, it starts going up. So therefore, the whole idea of lighting a new flame is connected with the idea of going upward. Avamela says Rashi al Shem Shalava Oila Kosu Bahapkoson Loshan Aliyah. Since the whole teva of fire is to go upwards, and therefore it's written when Aaron had to light the candle, it's written the word Aliyah. However, he said, Shetzarik lahadlik, ad shetehei asholevas, oilo mi eileiho. Now here, Rashi puts in an extra concept with the word eileiho. Rashi says that not only you just have to light it, and later it will anyway go upwards, you have to hold your flame, which you're lighting it, so long that the flame will not only start going up, but it will be going up independently. It will have its own independent power to go upwards, and it won't need your prompting to give it that power anymore. In other words, that Aaron, when he lit the light, he had to hold the candle there for a minute, but only in such a way that it gave the Neah that he was lighting the ability to go upwards, but in an independent way. So, you have to be, a bit blind not to see what is the obvious sort of message that's developing here. That, you have to light lights, and who are lights, you can imagine who lights are. you've got to light them in such a way that you're getting power. Either Hashem's giving you the power or somebody's giving you power, and you're starting to give off light. But he has to keep giving you his inspiration and his instruction until you'll be able to give off light yourself. And until then, he's got to keep pumping at you. But once you have reached the point where you can give off yourself, then he's finished his job. He's done it. And then, from then on, there's a whole new concept of going upwards, of not just going upwards, but going upwards with your own individual inherent power. Now that is an amazing idea, and the Rebbe's going to now develop on that. Was the most amazing opening of the Sharei HaChokmah. So he said, "Ha'hoiro's minyan zeh, ha'hoiro minyan, I'm sorry, mityacheset l'klolas avedas Hashem shel Yehudi." And the hoiro that comes out of this is something that relates to the service of Hashem of every year. Ala Yehudi lahadlik es nishmosei. A Yid has to light up his neshama, yeah? Why is that? Because the neshama is inside a guf. The neshama came down and is sitting inside a guf. And the guf can, as it were, how do you call it, darken the light. The guf can have a, how do you refer to it as a sort of a darkening and heavy effect on your neshama. Therefore he said, a Yehudi has to be madlik es nish. Moshe, you've got to light up your light. Ner Hashem nishmas odom. He said you have to be Ner Hashem nishmas odom. You have to be like the light of the Eivishter. Mitzad your neshama. I said, what sort of light is that? What sort of light do you have to be like in your soul that you're giving off light? So he said, Ba'oyer HaTorah. Yeah, near mitzvah, but Torah oyer. And not the both mitzvah and Torah have to do with light. Mitzvahs are there, Torah is the etaminion of light. Yeah, but kasher, ba'oyer zeh, meir kol ha'olam, ha'moire ala inin shel chiba kol inyon ha'olam im kedusha. And once, this light of the Torah and the mitzvah will shine in such a way through the neshama of a year that it lights up the whole world. Yeah, what that indicates, if it lights up the whole world, it indicates that all things in the world are forming a connection with Kedusha, that gradually Kedusha is taking over the world. So he said that Kol Inyonik Ha'olam Im Kedusha, Yeshihi Harei Matoros Kol HaBriya. Well, that is the matter of the whole Bria. So Kumta is that you are given Torah and mitzvahs in order that you should light up your neshama. And through that, you light up your guf and your nefesh HaTiviyas, and through that you light up the world, and through that you join everything to that light, because light is a catching thing. It's put down. And Silla and the Baal Shem Tov said that light, how they call it, catches things and attracts them. So when you reveal light, then you form a chibur between the Torah, and that's why the Rebbe, ever since he took over the Messiah, the Rebbe has wanted to spread the light. You know, this unbelievable campaign of the Bate Chabad and all the most amazing things, and all the mitzvahim and all this spreads out Kedusha, the light of Kedusha into the world, and that forms a connection. And it could, people get drawn, but I don't know if you've ever been on mitzvahim of Hanochas Tefillin. And sometimes, you know, I remember in the old days when I was in the army, I put on tefillin, hundreds of guys, but you know, you have people say to you, no, I can't, I'm in a tremendous hurry, I can't, leave me alone, I've got to go somewhere, you know, and you say, take it easy, man, that's just a couple of minutes, you know. It's after he puts on the tefillin and he says, smile, it's all of a sudden he's just completely different, you know. And so you said to him, well, but man, before this you were in a tremendous hurry and to come to do it. What's happened to you? He said, I don't know myself. But something's happened. In other words, that he's formed a chibur. The Kedusha has literally stuck onto him, the Kedusha has rubbed off. So the Rebbe said, that's because you've lit up your neshama. And that's the general idea. But what's the hero? What's the special hero? He said, it'll be in that general idea, just like the Mishkan is a general. So he's been yesh no hero, shatricha liyosh shalevas oila meyaleyo. There's got to be a flame that goes up independently with its own koyach. Mili melu melamde so oifen hadla. Not just that you've got to light up in the neshama. How are you supposed to do that? And how does that work? So the Rebbe now takes the three, in the Sikha, it's very amazing. The Rebbe takes the three words, Shalhivas, Ha'oila, Me'aleh, and he deals with them in detail. So here we see it in this Teichen, we also see it in shorter words. Shalhivas, that's the word in Hebrew for a flame. So he said, Shalhivas, in other words, it shows us the general idea of Aish, ala Yehudi, lo yimito, lita es a nail. He doesn't have to make the nail. The nail is already there. Ela ma, ela lahadlikoi. He's just got to light the nail. Hare, in other words, your neshama is already there. What's got to be done? You've got to light it. So he said, Hare kayom umuchan lahadlocha. The nail is waiting to be lit. Yesh rak lahalois boy as I shall have. You got to have it cooked. Make it have aish. You got to light it. And neshama kayemes v'atera mitzvahs yeshnon. Ubeim to usam yesh lahadlik es a neshama. And through the medium of the Torah mitzvah, you light up the neshama. So the Rebbe says that the shalhevas means a powerful flame, not just the word ner can also mean like on Hanukkah, some people just light small light, there's also a very kosher light, but it's very small, and that's also called a ner. But the word shalhevas means like a group of flames, You can call a bigger flame a shalhevet. So the Rebbe said it's mashma from Rashi that what we're hinting at here is a maximal type of effect. We're not just going for small fry. We're trying to have a massive effect on a yid. We've got a lot of these neshama that'll be a burning flame, not just a little. So he says, Oilo. What does Oila teach me? Melamed al oifen avoida. Well, that teaches me the way I got to go to it. How do I actually do it, Papoyo? He said, B'klal yesh chilo bein amida lahalicho. It's one on in the Haftorah of this week's Parshas. It's brought down that nosati l'chom ahalchim bein ha'oimdim ha'ele. And ha'oimdim ha'ele is referring to the Malochim. But you as neshamas, you are going hoilchim, mahalchim, bein ha'oimdim. Meaning that neshamas have the power to be movers and goers. They're mahalchim, the malachim, despite the milas that they have, but they are umdim. They remain basically on the same spot. However, neshamas have to go. So the Rebbe said, that tends to imply that a Yehudi yochol avodas Hashem, Abba even shalamida b'makom. He can serve the Eibush, but he's trotting on the spot. I remember when we were in the army, sometimes when they march you, they make you stop, and you have to go on the same. That's called lahadrik halamakom. You're just going up and down, and you're moving, but you're not going anywhere. You're just standing on the same spot. But Amela, he said, that's called amida b'makom. L'lo yishtatves I'm sorry, Lili Stapras to medias, miyom liyom. You're not improving day after day. He said, Akba Kedusha, Chaya Maklal, Shemailin Bakoide. He said, we have in Kedusha a special general rule that you've got to keep going higher. Mailin Bakoide. The Gemara learns that out. Masechta Brachot from the Manera. It's very interesting. It's all limud in the Gemara that we learn Mailin because you must always be going upwards. Yeah, and it addresses hoisofa to media. You must always be adding in a continuous way. Kaksha Yehudi le'olam einenu oimed b'makom. You're not allowed to just be, how to call it, even though you might be moving, you're not allowed to just stand in the same place. Ela tomid hu b'tenua shel halika ruchnias, and that means aliyah. If it's ruchnias, then it's not going. There's a way where you can go horizontally. In Kedusha, there's no horizontal going. In Kedusha, there's only aliyah. So that's like the two main things that we're aiming at. However, the Rebbe said, "Yeseda mizukan, lo istam halika." Now we're coming to what you might call the main pitch line. Yeah, lo istam halika ela aliyah, but oila me Leo, not only aliyah, but aliyah from your own power, as it were. You've got to be independently able to do the aliyah. So he said, "Kan yesh kwach chidash bo'even halika atzmei." The way that you're going to go that upwardness, there's an old saying in America, upwardly mobile. That's what you got to be. You got to be upwardly, mobile. And he says, Yesh aliha, yehila oil koloroiga. If you want, you could go, in the length and the breadth. He said, that's not what we're after. Areyima ba'isa, Rama, oisa sug avoido. He said, if he goes to the length and the breadth, havioima means I would say about that is basically on the same level, and it's the same general type. Even yoiter rochov, im yoiter sniffing. It's just got more broad, and it's got a few more, tails to a few more, paragraphs. It's got a few more paragraphs. He said, aliyah, the whole idea of aliyah, mevatei sug halika, שבוי אוילים מדרג הארץ לדרג גבוה ממנו לחלוטין. When you go upwards, then you move absolutely from one spot to the other, going upwards. Now, the truth is that when you move horizontally, you also go from one spot to the other. But you're still basically where you are. Over here, you're going upwards, and upwards is a tremendous aliyah and a tremendous effort. So when you're going always upwards, you're always moving from one level to the other in a way which is called a chalutim. A chalutim means in Lashon Kodesh absolute. You're moving absolutely. Ein zu oto avoida, rak behekev godliota. This is not the same avoida that you were doing the day before, just with a bigger circumference. Ella avoida nailis, every day you've got to be on a bigger and higher level. And that's misuga acher legamre. Now just imagine that. Every day, you're not allowed to quit. You're not allowed to say, I can't manage it today, I'm just not in the mood, I don't have I didn't have my coffee in the morning, I got to go to the club at Chaylim, I jump in and get a stimulus. No, you're allowed to say that. Every day you get up, you got to be in a aliyah, you got to go upward, not just horizontal. You got to go upward. So the Rebbe said that's pretty heavy going. But in that, you got a whole new condition. He said, Me'aleyo. The whole idea of Me'aleyo melamdeinu inyan ikri b'yoysa b'muhus avedis ha'adloka. He said this teaches something tremendously essential in the etzem concept of the Bhaalothcha. He said, Bhaalothcha trika liyesh ad kedei kach, shadova hanidla, that the thing which is being lit, nasa kwa meya mi atzmo. You got to hold your candle alongside the thing that you're lighting in such a way that it'll be able to go up on its own, not that because your flame is there, it's going upward. But once you've removed your flame, it's got to be able to go upward with its own power, independently. So later, but if I'm bringing, I'll maybe tell you, there's a famous story from the Bhaalothcha, which is similar to this. So maybe you're one. So he said, I need like massive crown, yeah, may Ein hu tzorik oid lahamadli. He doesn't need the person who lit him. No, he's able to light on his own. He's able to give off light and go upward independently. So he said, Parshas, B'Avedas Ha'odom, Lamreis Avedas Hashem Shalom Nushpas, Alidei Germim Shoinim. Your service at the Eibishter begins with hashpah from all sorts of different, what we might call factors or parties. The Eibishter, he's the one that he gives you manikla, he gives the curb to start serving the Eibishter. And so the Eibishter gives him that also. Not only the Torah, he gives him the Torah mitzvahs to light up his neshama. V'keina svivo, the sort of environment where you find yourself. Also, your hoilim, got your parents, they give you, they feed a lot into you. Or mechanchim, educators, teachers, and mashpiyim, they put a lot into you. Amaviyim moisei l'avedas Hashem, and they bring you and they help you to reach Avedas Hashem. Achi se b'seiva shal dova, ha-shalahevas trikali yois elami aleiho. They give you the star over the shlemus is that you've got to be able to do it yourself. You ever heard of the old expression in English, do it yourself? Yeah, I remember when we were kids, they used to sell things that were called do-it-yourself kit. You know, you got there a spanner and a screwdriver and all sorts of mazes. You don't need to call a plumber, you can do it yourself. In other words, you got to learn plumbing, but not call him a plumber. You got to do it yourself. The plumber you call him only first time around. He teaches you, but he's got to teach you in a way that you'll be able to do it yourself. Oh, yeah. I remember the whole thing in the 40s and 50s. The whole thing is do it yourself, be independent, There's a whole message. And that's exactly what the Rebbe is saying. Your parents and your teachers and all that, they hold the nerve to you and they start you up. But they got to see that they got to give in to you in such a way that now you're on your own. Yeah, he said, "B'sefer v'shaleves trikli yesh olam yaleho, avidotzei enena yichola li'shayen le'olam al koiches achitzonim amisayim." He said, "Avodas Hashem avayid can't rely on somebody else all the days of his life. He can't be just a talmud of his mashpia, from he can remain connected with his mashpia. He can be grateful for his mashpia. He can have tremendous koved. But you've got to become independent, and your mashpia has to work on you in such a way that he gives you the power to be a functioning dogma on your own. You've got to give off light with your own power. Not somebody else is lighting you and you're giving off his light. You've got to give off your own light. What is that, guys? Hey, isn't that amazing? Yeah. Well, Mamela said the Rebbe, this parsha in Rashi, the simple pillars of Rashi teaches us an amazing thought. Yeah? That ain't nothing, you've got to have somebody, and the Abishah does it also partly. He lights you up, but there's a kavanah. He's got to light you only up to a point. After that, you got to, you got to buy a whole spiritual, do-it-yourself kit. You understand? And you got to be able to do it all yourself until you become. The Rebbe writes in the, you got to become a dogma. You yourself are like an example to others. Yeah, it's quite a joke. He said, a marshal is there, Miravu Talmud, the obvious, how do you call it, marshal to this whole inyan is from the whole concept of a teacher and his Talmud, a Rav and a Talmud. Sha'af sharav, manik la-Talmud, es kol ha-kelim, u'melamed oisoi es ha-inyan v'shlei muzah. Well, that's for sure that a Rav has to give what he's got to give. And he can't just give you a part of the, he can't just give you, how do you call it, a mavakak, you know. He's got to give you the whole shlema. As the old saying of it, the whole caboodle, the Rav has got to give you the whole thing, you know. He can't just teach you part of it. Yeah, achamatori, in giving you everything, he's got to have an aim. And the aim has got to be Shabbat Yisamek HaTalmud Ba'atzmai. He will, how to call it, deepen himself so much in the inyan afterwards. Achiyovan I say B'choichai Shaloi, Choichai Shaloi, yeah, B'sichloi Shaloi. He will understand it with his own seichel. And that's what we see all over in the Gemara and the Medrash, the great teachers of our Sayyidahs, they taught in a way that all their Talmudim became themselves Amoraim. Yeah, they all became, it's just that he said he was a Talmud of Pliny, meaning if it hadn't been for Pliny, he wouldn't have reached that. Or once he's reached it, he himself is a Rav. You know. It's an amazing idea. And the Rebbe says that is the message of Rashi. That's what Rashi says. Or even Claudine, he said, Zuhi, yeah, Harei Anakuda HaKlodi Yeshomat Torah. If we think about it, and we just look carefully at Mount Torah, what is the whole Indian of Mount Torah? The Abishah came down on Mount Sinai, gave us the Torah, and he just wanted us to be a little Makablim. The whole time we were saying, oh, Abishah, you have to help me, I can't, I don't know what to say, where are you, wherever you go. Ella, the Abishah gave Yidden the Torah that they should become the Mayirim Asoilam. They got now the task that they got to light up the world. The Abishah wants that you should do it. Avada, he could do it. The Abishah could do it. There's the old saying, as it, you know, the old quip. If you want a deer of a tractor, you never done my good. What the heavens can make a deer. But he wants to build himself a deer, a tractor, you never done it. Go ahead and build it. That's not the quest. He wants that you have to make him the deer. You follow? That's the quest. So he said, Arei Anakuda HaKlod Shel Matan Torah HaKodesh Baruch Hu B'dugmas HaRav. He's like the Rav. Nosan es HaTorah Kula LeYisrael. He didn't hold anything back. He gave us the whole lot. Ach, he said, Yisrael, Talmidim, Mikablim Me'arav, they're the ones who are Mikabel from the Rav, Tzrichen, Lamel B'koiches Atzmon, they have to now struggle on their own. Ulechadei B'Torah, you got to say a chideh. Oh, you say, Halavai, I would just be able to learn a bit. Now you got to say a chideh. And that's what the Gemara brings in a Veda Torah there that called Masha Talmud Osid Lechad, it's in a Medrash Lechad. Yeah, Osid Lechad is not Moshe. But Osid Lechad, he's going to bring that out from the heaven. It was given to him by Moshe. But he's got to reveal within the world, he's got to reveal the Chiddush. that there is in that in. V'adarabah, אחרי שהתורה ניתנה להם, הרי רק הם הכואבים בו. The Rebbe said there's a very profound Indian that once the Eibusha gave Yidden the Torah, they are the Balabatim on the Torah. What does that mean? That if you want to paskin it, then you have to ask the Bezdin Shoma Torah. You don't write a petik and throw it up into heaven and ask Hashem what it is. He says you have to go to the Bezdin. And they decide what is the halacha. Why? Because they are Kavioho. They're in charge now. They are the nail that's got to be Me'aleya. That's an amazing idea. And therefore, what do you call it? Rabbi Eliezer, the Gemara Masakta Bava Matzia there, he said, Lo Yibashumayim, the Torah is not in heaven anymore. Once Hashem gave it, it's Alamata, he would have been. And they're going to decide. And so the Avish just said, in reference to, in another Gemara, in reference to a whole question about Nagoyim, the Avish just said, where's Rabba Bar Nachmani? Rabba, he knows all the dinim of Nagoyim. Evuhu, why is he not saying? So they went and brought Rabba Bar Nachmani all the way up into heaven. Yeah? And the Avish just said to him, what do you say? And he said, I say kach v'kach. So the Avish just smiled and he said, Nitzchune bonai nitzchune. In other words, the Avish hindered that I would have paskened otherwise. And over Rabba Bar Nachmani, he said kach. My sons have beaten me. And I said, my sons, they've said the din, that's the din. They've said, Nitzchune bonai nitzchune. And I said, the Rebbe, once the Avish gave the Torah, then the controllers of the Torah are the Yidden. Okay, that's the Gemara I just quoted. Loi b'shamayim v'alocha nikvas rak al pi mashu posku am Yisrael al pi klole hapasika batoira. You got certain klolim and certain general rules. According to that, you decide. Once the Bezdin, the majority opinion of the Bezdin, Paskin's got, that's the way it is. And Hashem says, let's ask Rabbi Bar Nachmani, what does he say? That's the way it is. Why is that? Because you've got to be a Ner Ha'olah, you've got to be an independent Koya, and you've got to give over, and you've got to spread Torah into the world now. It's your job. That's in a general way. He said in a specific way, also, when you keep a mitzvah, yeah, you've also got to learn how to keep the mitzvah, but then you've got to be able to do it yourself in a way that your mitzvah will give off light to others. People will look at you as a duchman. Yeah, בלימוד התורה צריך הדובר להחזיק עד כדי כך את האדם. Yeah, להחזיק, that's to become a chakika, has to become engraved in his matzia. Yeah, עד כדי כך את האדם, על ידי river החזור, through working very hard. In the old days they used to chazor 100 times, you know. עד שהוא כבר מונח בשכלו באופן מוחלט. Until he knows 100% in his mind that this is the way it is, and he's got it. Sure, he doesn't need to learn it anymore from his teacher. He's got it, and that's part of him. He's able to give that over to others all on his own. And he said, mitzvahs, wait. The Rebbe says you have to be magilas atzmei. Ad kidei kach b'mitzvahs, shador kwa nasa livsheit, nasa l'poshul v'rogil etloi. You got to do the mitzvah, ad kidei kach, that it becomes like your body becomes habituated, that your body will do the mitzvahs on its own, as it were. Yeah. You don't know the story with the Rebbe Rashab. The Rebbe Rashab asked the Rebbe Marash, what is the hero that he's got for him for his bar mitzvah, you know? So the Rebbe said, your guf itself, you have to teach your body that it itself should do the mitzvah. That your body itself will want to do the mitzvah without you having to tell it. It will do the mitzvah itself, you know. And so the Rebbe Rashab told somebody once, that's what his father said to him. And the Rebbe said, you know, why did it have to get out? You know, it could have been kept secret. We've all got to learn from that. We've all got to be a little bit that way, that you've got to be so involved in the mitzvah that it just, you know, when you get up in the morning, not just say, oh, wow, I got to put on tefillin here, I got to do it. But your body should just move and run and put on tefillin. Almost of its own regular. And there's an amazing Yerushalmi, and the Tosafot brings down this Yerushalmi. It's a Gemara Masechta Shabbat, and the Tosafot brings down. It's written of Reb Chia Barabbas, I think he was, in the Yerushalmi. He says that I'm very grateful to my hair. So everybody couldn't quite figure what's he so grateful to his head about. So he said, you know why I'm grateful to my head? He said, because whenever I come to bow in Shemoneh Esrei, he said, my head bows on its own. I don't bow anything, so my head does it. You know, so he brings from that a raya that he never really had any kavanah. His body just did it automatically. Yeah. So Tosafot said that was because of his, how do you call it, modesty. That really he had worked so hard on his body that his body just did it automatically. And it was a narrow, and whenever it came Shemoneh Esrei, his head just bowed down automatically because he was Kulei Kedusha. Therefore his head just bowed, on its own. Oh, yeah. That's the even So later the Rebbe is going to teach us how that affects everything in life. The way you do everything, it's got to be in a way that, and you shouldn't think that the things in the world are unreactive. We think that things in the world don't get affected. But the Rebbe said that where things in the world are subject to light, and the light of the Torah, then things in the world go different. And it's such an amazing teaching. And you can see it happening the whole time around. When they do in this country things what they should do, or what the Rebbe told them to do, then things work out well. And everything sort of goes in a positive way, in a way that it builds. When they don't, they just make trouble for themselves and for others. Rahman. There's a simon that really the world doesn't listen to what you say, much more than what you think. If you're an independent power, you have an effect on the world. And so the Rebbe finishes the whole argument, was amazing. So the Rebbe said, I taught everybody that a child's room should have a chumash, and it should have a siddur, and should have a tzedakah pushkir. So he said, you've got to arrange the child's room in such a way that when the child walks into the room, the chumash jumps out and hits him. In other words, not that, he's got to look around in the room with his glasses, inside the cupboard or something, that's where the chumash is. I got a chumash, brother. He's got to come into the room in a way, he said, I got my chumash, I didn't do my chittas today, kaval, and he grabs the chumash and he starts learning. And the same with tzedakah, he doesn't have to wait till the teacher reminds him to give tzedakah. He sees the pushka, and the pushka shrays to him, listen man, you got to give tzedakah. So he runs up to the pushka and throws all these spare coins into the pushka. Well, that says the Rebbe, because he's been given the right chinuch, that he's affected the things in the world, that they also become a nair they want him to do good with them. Yeah. There's a famous story from the Rosh I'll maybe tell you about it. Of Al-Khapanim, we see from that things in the world do react. And they themselves can become independent powers in the service of bringing Elokus into the world, and ultimately, but not just ultimately, but take him bringing Mashiach. Now, so that is basically the message. It's an amazing idea. I find it very stirring that if you affect the world with your own independent power, then the world reflects back. The world actually does get affected. That's the main message of the whole thing. And then things sort of go better than what you anticipated. It's amazing. Philip Road.
Thank you.
Huh? That's the polish off my coffee.
Not good to mix your drinks.
Not worth it anymore if it's cold.
Where do you get all these sources? You're an intellectual researcher. You pick up these sources.
Tell you, huh?
And so
What do you hear from Zeb
Oh, what an amazing thing. I just sent David an email, and I called up today his Sotner friend, and he went away on a vacation to Miami.
Zev or the friend?
Yeah, he went for 2 weeks to Miami, and he's just coming back today. And somebody saw on the internet that there was like little notice to people that he's coming back yesterday. And the reason that he went on a vacation is that his Robertson also wasn't well. That the two of them weren't feeling well, so they decided to go on like a getaway. They went away, and he apparently is he's gradually progressing in a positive way. That's what the sophomore person told me. Yeah.
Good, but just Davis, amen.
So I sent him my email, nonetheless, I heard him. I don't know, listen. There are hundreds of studies in medical schools. I should realize that it's just amazing what the Rebbe said. It's just so mind-boggling that the Rebbe says you actually affect the world. And the Rebbe learns that whole story about Reb Chia in a very special way. He says that Reb Chia was aware, his body was aware that not just his neshama, but his body. That his body just automatically bowed down without his neshama having to say anything. And that's a sign of the unbelievable greatness of Rebbe Chia. And it's put down in the Meforshim, at the Yerushalmi, that some of the Meforshim say that Rebbe Chia tried to use that as a way of playing himself down and saying, you know, I'm not a big knob, I just do things rather automatically, my head bowed. That was his unbelievable modesty. He was trying to hide himself. Well, the truth is that was because his body was completely involved in Kedusha. Unbelievable. That's what you're saying.
It's also from Yeshayahu that we influence, Nabi Yeshayahu, that we influence the world by our actions and our deeds.
In other words, we shouldn't think that we don't affect the world. You do affect the world. And even an individual, you affect the world. So therefore some people say, oh, I don't have any opinion Because nobody asked me anyway, and even if they did, what can I help? You know, I'm just a nobody. And it's not like that. It could be you're a nobody. It could be you have to do tshuva. That's at the end of it. The Rebbe says tshuva helps under any circumstance. It could be that you have to do tshuva, or you can affect, and you do affect the world. You do. You have an effect on the world. If I had choir, I would sing it, but I'm just so worn out. I want to tell you, Miser, that I heard the Miser from the B'nai Bracha Rov in Rav Landa. But there's a whole tzika where the Rebbe brings, I saw later, years later, I saw a tzika from the Rebbe where the Rebbe quotes it. That once, Rav Landa used to have the privilege that he could eat meals with the Rebbe Rashab together. When the Rebbe Rashab ate, that was maybe not so often, but when he did, and he sat together with the Rebbes and they had a meal, he had the privilege of being at the... So once he said, he thinks it was maybe on Shabbos, that they had flay, they had meat on Shabbos. It's Indian to eat meat. And so the Rebbe put his fork into the piece of chicken, a small piece, and he lifted it up. And just as it got to his mouth, it dropped. It fell off the fork. It happens occasionally, I think that. So the piece of meat fell down onto the plate. So the Rebbe smiled, he looked at the piece of meat, and he said it would appear that he doesn't want yet.
Yeah.
That's what the Rebbe said in Yiddish. He said, "Cook toys, as I will not nicht." He doesn't want yet. So everybody was a bit, nobody could quite figure, what does that want? So you know what the Rebbe says in Natzicha? Say something. The Rebbe said that the work of Yidden is that they have to affect the world, that the world wants to be purified, the world wants to be mitparer, so that not you're forcing a birra onto the piece of meat, but the piece of meat wants to be mitparer. You follow?
Yes.
The world wants to be mitparer. If a great person like the Rebbe, he affects all the things around him, and they want to be mitparer. They're anxious for him to affect them, because they want him. He's already affected them, so they want to be more affected and elevated completely to Kedusha. So that's what the Rebbe was used to. And all of a sudden a piece of meat fell off his fork. So he said in a slightly smiling way, he said, it appears this one doesn't want yet. I've got to work on it better, and then it will want it. But if he does work better, it for sure will want. And so the Rebbe says over there that really wherever Yidden are doing Avodas Hashem, the Rebbe says wherever people are doing Avodas Hashem, the things around them want to come into Kiddush. They want to have a Shalom. That's because you have become a mashpia type guy, you understand? You're affecting the world. So when I read that, I just, that's really something. You are having an effect on the world.
Absolutely.
Which means that you must not say, oh, who am I, what can I do? Even if you will think, and so that's what the famous cloud, tracht good, wird sein good. Think good, it will be good. So that's sort of the question. I'll think of, but who am I? So I'll think good. It's Shalom Aleichem. You're a nice fellow. You're thinking good. You're a good guy. No. If you think good, good is Kedusha. Elikus is good. That's what we learned last night in the man. Tov is Elikud. If you think good, you're inviting the Eibishter to affect things. So the Eibishter said, you are bringing good into the world. it'll react, and it'll be good, you understand? Trat good, it's ain't good. And I once saw a letter by Rapinia Altai, Oliver Sholem, that it was written from the Frierdiker Rebbe, that the Frierdiker Rebbe wrote Rapinia, and he said, by uns is mekubal, mean the Rebbein, by uns is mekubal, and mitrat good, wird good. What that means, not if you think good, it will be good. But if you think good, it immediately becomes good. If you think good, wird in Yiddish means become. If you think good, it becomes good. In other words, that you are affecting the world. You are a very powerful. Why? Because you're doing what the Rebbe said here. You've taken what's been given to you, and you are independently giving it all. And you are, with your own individual greatness, you are giving that over. And every year it's got a greatness in it. And he's giving that over. The world reacts. The world says, oh, I'll also do it. I'll be a power of eloquence. Well, that's the way it is. And that's the pshat of that story with the Rebbe Rosh with the piece of meat. That's the pshat. It's a whole new glimpse of existence, you know. It's a whole new way of understanding. But when you get into it,
Amen.
so there we are, guys. We got to say L'chaim.
Amen.
Chaim.
Yeah, Chaim.
You wanted to say a story from the Baal Shem Tov. You said that you wanted to say something from the Baal Shem Tov.
Yeah, Chabad Tsfat. Oh. Chaim. So it's like this. I don't know how it was yesterday, but I was giving a share to the Bochum in the Tmei Midori, and somehow or another, somebody said something about Tiberia. And you know how your mind makes association. So in Tiberia, there's buried one of the, actually more than one, Talmidim of the Baal Shem Tov. Those who actually were Talmidim who knew of the Baal Shem Tov. And so one of them is called Reb Nachman Horodenka. He's buried over there in the old Beis Chaim. So Reb Nachman Horodenka, he was a very early Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov, and he was zeicher to be what you call a Ne'eman Bayit. He was like a very trusted member of the domestic scene in the Baal Shem Tov's house. In other words, the Baal Shem Tov would entrust him with certain things which are when they get to the life of he and his family in the house. And actually, that if the Baal Shem Tov went away, which he quite often did, he went on journeys, the Baal Shem Tov, he would leave the key to his own private cupboard in his house. But he never let anybody into that cupboard. It's well known by the great tzaddikim. They sometimes have things that they want to keep on for themselves. He would give that key to Rav Noman. He trusted him implicitly that he would not open and peek at what's going on. He wouldn't have the courage, to use the expression pipsqueak, he wouldn't ever make it. He was very trusted, Tom. So all of a sudden it occurred to me when this guy said something about Tiberia, all of a sudden my mind just made this, I'm in the middle of a class and all of a sudden it came into my mind that the Reb Nachman Horodenki, he said that every Monday in Shir Shel Yom, at the end of the Shir Shel Yom, Kihu Elokeinu olam voed, Ze Elokim Elokeinu olam voed, Hu yinagenu al mut. He will conduct us above death. That's what it means, simple term. That's what it means. So people sort of look for a pshat, what does that mean? Higher than nature, it's amazing. People look for a pshat. But there's another girsa, that there's some great early period, how to call them, gravitational, great experts, that they say that al-muz is not two words, it's one word. Huyanagenu al-muz. One word, al-muz. So what is al-muz? Can anybody help?
Aliyah.
Huh?
Aliyah. Aliyah.
No. Al-muz.
Almost Elam.
Elam. Elam is a child. Elam, with the ayin, means a small kid. So the Baal Shem Tov said to Rav Nachman Horadenke that the Eibishter conducts himself with each individual like a child. So, what he never grows up, what's his problem? So he said that our father, when the child wants to start walking, what does the father do? He holds him by his hands and he goes back and the child, but he's holding his father's hand. He said of the emes of loving father, what does he do? He wants to teach him how to walk. He doesn't want him to hold his hands the whole time. So what does he do? All of a sudden, one day, he's leading him by the hand, and then all of a sudden, he takes away his hand. So all of a sudden, the child's on his own. So what's going to happen? Either he's going to fall, or he's going to walk, you understand? So even if we'll say he'll fall, but he'll fall in order to get up again. What did the Rav Nachman Horadenki say? That's the pshat, that Hashem runs us like small children, who yinagenu almuz, that he runs you like a small child. He takes you at the beginning, he leads you at the beginning, he's doing everything. All of a sudden, he moves his hands, but clearly he's still looking after you, but you don't see it, and you've got to move on your own now. You've got to have the strength to move on your own. And that's the touch, that's what he wants. And why does he do that? Because he's a good tata, he's a good father. He's a loving father. That's the emes of chesed that you should learn to go on now. I thought that occurred to me, it was very similar to what we're learning here. And that just flew into my mind yesterday. When I heard the word Tiberia, for some reason that clicked into my consciousness. And that was said by, and this Rav Nachman Horadenke, he and another person called Reb Menachem Mendel Premishlana, not Meir Premishlana. Meir Premishlana was later. But this was a Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov, Menachem Mendel mi Premishlana. They, he and Rav Nachman Horadenke, they came to Eretz Yisrael. They were early to Eretz Yisrael after the establishment of the Baal Shem Tov. While the Baal Shem Tov was alive, they wouldn't have left his side. But after his establishment, they came to Eretz Yisrael. And they were like the leaders of the Aliyah HaChasidiyah, which occurred later in the time of Medlevitebska. And they came to Eretz Yisrael, and he was the Neman Beisa of the Baal Shem Tov.
He was the Baal Tekeah? He was the Baal Tekeah by the Baal Shem Tov?
What?
Baal Tekeah, no?
It could be he was about to carry it, so I'm not sure about that part. I only say what I heard about it. That could be.
What's
Yeah,
about
he was very trusted by the person. And that's the same basic principle. You could do it yourself. And when you do, you give off your individual contribution, what you can only give. And that's what an Amazon must be. He's got to bring you to that point, and then he's got to say, listen, do it yourself from now on. I'm always here to help. but you gotta do it yourself. And I remember that once when I was in Australia and I was so bound over to my mashpia, I held from him so much, I admired him so much. And then just before I left to come to Eretz, he said, listen, don't be upset. He said, but from now on, I'm backing off a bit, He said, because if you're going to Eretz, he said, you've got to have Egan a cook. He said, you've got to be able to do it yourself. And at the time, I was a bit sort of shocked. I thought, what's
Abu
that?
Plishkin?
Reb Zalman said to me.
Abu Plishkin?
That's what he said to me. And when I gradually began to wake up, I saw that was the greatest chesed. No.
L'chaim, l'chaim.
Chaim.
So everybody forgive me.
Chaim,
But
Chaim.
I said to Ben when we come that I wasn't feeling so well this evening. So everybody forgive me if I caught up. And Hashem should help us to be worthy of these unbelievable messages from the Rebbe.